Hell with Vince McMahon. I don't need him.
Radiation is a curious thing. No one expects what it would bring. But time.
You were able to work as a wrestler at PWX and a referee at IWC at the same time when guys weren't allowed to do that. So how did that come about? How did you pull that off?
Here's how I pulled it off. I told both promoters, here's exactly what I'm doing. You can book me or not. And they can't say that I didn't say that. PWX, I told them, I says, you're putting me in storylines. You're putting me in big matches. I'm delivering, I think, because I am getting the reactions. So I will do your shows over. However, there were some circumstances where I wasn't needed for a show, so then I was able to work the others if they conflicted, which I don't think happened too often. But I won't say that I called my own shots, but I pretty much did. I gave them, like, here, you can book me or not. There was a time in PWX when Quinn stepped down from booking. This was in 2006, or 2005, I'm sorry, 2005. The booking staff changed at PWX to Scotty Gash, Devin Devine, and Nikita Alanoff. And that's when I really started, like, going 100% into wrestling. They put me in some really stupid stories that made no sense whatsoever. And I went out there and I still did them. Like, I still achieved the end result of getting over, getting the reactions. And then they got bitter because I got booked outside of the country. And they started booking me out the door, along with a lot of other people. And PWX stopped drawing what they used to. They lost the Sportatorium, and they moved into the Palisades, which is, I love the Palisades. There's a lot of wrestling history there. So it was a big deal for me to wrestle there. But when they're drawing 10 people, it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. I told a story not too long ago. This one angle we were running, there was an 8-man tag. Devil had a group with myself, Jake Garrett, Eisendrock, Apollyon, and Armageddon, Rapture and Revelation. And we were feuding with just whoever they can put together to make a big team. But they brought in some guys from New York, Philadelphia area. Teddy Fine, Sabotage. So I lock up with Sabotage and I put him in a headlock. And next thing I know, Sean Patrick's telling me to stop wrestling. I'm like, what? And I'm like working his headlock. And he's like, stop wrestling. This guy just had a heart attack. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. It's wrestling. We don't stop. So I continued to start working this match while their EMTs are taking this guy out who just dropped dead of a heart attack. But yeah, I mean, just random stories. But yeah, just.
Yeah. Let me like, you're talking about this booking committee. This is the first time I've ever heard anybody sort of bring up anything negative about Scotty Gash, which really kind of surprised me.
It's not him per se. It was the committee as a whole. I've never had an issue with Scotty Gash, but I've heard some other things.
Yeah, I mean, I've made the same mistake as far as booking and wrestling on the same show, and
Mm-hmm.
I've recently really thought about that and thought that I think it's a terrible idea to have guys that are booking and wrestling on the shows, because you can't, no matter how much you want to say I'm being objective, you're not. You're just simply not. Even a guy that, I love Scotty Gash. He's one of my favorite people ever. I think even for him it would be very difficult to be completely objective when it comes to telling the right story that matters to the fans.
Gash and I have had great chemistry in the ring. When Ryan Rain and I were teaming against Brandon Kay and Scotty Gash, we ran a pretty good program over a summer with some, I thought, were fantastic tag matches. We built it up to a ladder match, and hands down one of my favorite matches ever. Mm-hmm. There's that video that's on Facebook right now, the guy that gets pounced out of the ring.
Yeah.
Gash did that to me before that video.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
You missed your chance being internet famous.
I mean, I think that one was unintentional. Ours was intentional.
Sure. No, I think the other one was intentional, too.
Yeah, probably.
Who are your favorite guys that you've ever worked with, and why?
It depends. I mean, like, I like working with a lot of my friends. Like, I love seeing, like, their storytelling. Like Jack Pollock right now, I love being in the ring with him because I think he's the most underrated Pittsburgh wrestler. I think he doesn't belong here.
I've told him to his face, I think that he is the best baby face in all of Western PA. I know he's working heel right now, but I've not seen a better baby face around right now.
He has a mind like no other, like putting together a match and just helping the young guys. I see him now, like, moving into that role, and I think he's going to go on and do some big things. Right now, he's my favorite to watch. Jackson Argos is another one. I really like watching him.
What about for you, though, specifically? Who are the guys that you've really liked working with?
Brandon, Justin Idol.
And not to shortchange Jackson Argos, I think that, like I said to him too, like your heel work is really good now. It's going to be amazing in 2 or 3 years.
I had great chemistry with Dash Bennett. He and I, we would tear the house down. I think I helped develop him into the wrestler that he became, and that's why Quinn put the faith in him to become a heavyweight champion at PWX. So I like everything that he's doing. I like everything that he was doing at the time. Another guy that I really liked working with, and I only got to do one match with him, was Sharecropper. We went out and worked a headlock for 12 minutes, and the crowd was eating it up. He was underrated, and that's unfortunate that he doesn't wrestle anymore. And Justin Idol. I know I said it earlier, but Justin and I had a chemistry like no other. We used to go down to the old PWX building on a Wednesday night. We'd set a timer for 90 minutes, and we'd just go out there and just work. Just chain wrestle for 90 minutes straight, no breaks. And we were only able to wrestle a handful of times, and most of our matches we never called anything. It was all in the ring, just feeling each other's movements, and I think that was one of my biggest letdowns, was not getting to work him more often when he and I were both in our primes.
You've mentioned Pollock and Argos. Are there other guys that you, as a referee, really enjoy being part of their match?
Those two right now are on the top of my list. I mean, I've been in the ring with thousands of different people. They're my favorites right now. In the past, like, I used to like working with JT Lightning because I learned so much on how to work as a heel from him. Same with Zoltan. I loved working with Zoltan because sure, it's all comedy, but there's a story that he's telling, and like it's teaching me how to work as a babyface and how to feed off the crowd's response and like how to get over. And there's not too many guys that can do that anymore.
Speaking of Zoltan, I don't know if you saw my last interview with Hank. He had some less than flattering things about Zoltan. I don't know him super well. He's always been nice to me. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, how is your relationship with Zoltan been? Do you put any merit in the fact that maybe he's a bit of a shyster? I know he's going through a lot right now, but you know, it's sort of a shocking thing to hear from Hank, who's one of the nicest guys in the world.
I've heard the stories from Hank before, so I wasn't shocked when I heard it. However, my relationship with Zoltan is a whole lot different than most people know. I owe him everything. He got me my job, my shoot job. So I work with Ken every day. So I'm very thankful and grateful of everything that he's ever done for me. And I'm happy to say that I can help pay back on this benefit show coming up for him.
This is a question I've never got to ask anybody, so I'm sort of anxious to hear your thoughts on this, because I've not interviewed somebody that's done a lot of refereeing. But what would you say makes a good referee?
You gotta stay. You don't want to stay too close to the action, but you don't want to stay too far away from it. A good referee knows his role. Doesn't take away from anything. Doesn't add to it, to the sense where it's going to make anything over the top. You got to be consistent. That's one of my big things with all the guys that I've helped over the years, is everything has to be consistent. Your counts, your movements, your just overall like body language. too many guys like to make themselves part of the match. I don't. I try to. The focus is on what's going on in the ring. You're there to count to 3 and play your role, not take away from what's going on. I mean, there's circumstance where, you know, guys want you to get involved and do certain things, and most matches need a competent referee that can help add to the drama, like the false finishes, and you gotta get those counts to make them, get those fans to like pop up out of their chairs to think that this might be the finish. I mean, that's to me, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a match with no rules and put a referee in there, because it just cheapens everything.
Sure.
The best advice that I ever got from anybody was from Sabu. It was a match between him and Abyss. No rules, you know, whatever. He says, you check us before the match, because you're the authority. So what if the match has no rules? There's rules until that bell rings. Then that's when the rules go out the window. So you got to stay firm, and you got to be the authority, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the rules are for the match. You got to be the authority. These guys have to listen to you, no matter what, and they don't. I'm known for counting guys' shoulders down. I'm not afraid to count to 3. I've changed finishes. I've changed tournaments. Kick out.
Let's have a discussion of someone coming up to you after a show tonight, maybe down at Rise Wrestling, wherever you're at that particular night, and they say to you, I love wrestling. I want to become a wrestler. What steps or what advice would you give to somebody that wanted to get involved in wrestling?
I would tell them to do some research and think about where you want to go. Like, what are you looking to achieve? Do you want to become, you know, the next WWE superstar? So you want to go to a reputable school? Do you want to start off and just learn locally? Because some guys have these dreams that they think as soon as they're going to get into wrestling, they're going to be right up here. It takes a lot of work, and I'm all for starting small. Something that's not a huge wrestling class. I was trained with 4 other guys, and I learned more like that because it's more one-on-one. Instead of going to a school that has 100 people, you're not going to get that attention. So right now, I think IWC's got a great school that I think you can learn a lot from some of these guys that are coaching and teaching. You see some of the products that are coming out of their school, and I think they're doing a fantastic job. And that's not taking away from anything else locally. I don't know who else is training at Fight Society. I know Brandon's doing a wonderful job with his group of guys. So I mean, stop, think about it. Go to somebody local, talk to them, maybe see what they got, watch one of their shows. You kind of get a good idea of what they're going to offer you.
People who are critics of you, because we all have them. What are some of the things they might say about you? Fair or unfair?
I've heard it all. That I have no business being in a ring. I've heard that I'm not marketable. I've heard it all.
How would you respond to somebody that would come up to you and say you have no business being in a ring?
Say to the promoter that's booking me. There was a good bit of time when I was booked solid twice a weekend for 12, 13 months straight. I was still getting the work. Do I think I'm the best? Absolutely not. I'm still learning. But just like everybody else, I'm getting an opportunity, and I'm going to take the ball and run with it. When I've heard that I was not marketable, I laughed at that comment. And there's a reason why I got stopped being booked, because they said I was not marketable, and they took me off their shows. And I just sat back and laughed and thought about all the years of hard work, all the things that I've done, and all the riots I've caused in buildings, the heat that I've gotten. And not the change the channel heat, like the people threatening to come out and slash my tires or hit me with a wrench. I've heard it all. But I'm still here. I'm still
What
getting
do you want
booked.
to say? I mean, who stopped booking you because you weren't marketable?
No, it's obvious.
PWX?
I'm not working there anymore.
Well, I mean, I didn't know. You know, there's other places you worked. I didn't know for sure. I hadn't heard that myself. So, I mean, why? I mean, you seemed like a guy who was very dedicated to that place. You'd been there a long time. I mean, who specifically said that? Was it Quinn? Was it Jim?
Yeah, Jim Miller.
I mean, what are you? I mean, I have him on my list of word association. Maybe we'll just save him.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
save for a little bit. But so okay, so critics. Well, we're here to it. We're here to the main event time. People either love this or hate this. This is the word association portion of this. First name I'm going to start with is Quinn Magnum.
I have the most respect for Quinn. He took a kid that was 15 years old, and he gave me an opportunity to referee, starting off. And then he had the faith in me as I put in the effort to start working, to book me, to wrestle matches, and give me some stories. And I have not a single bad word to say about Quinn. I texted him after his interview, and I said, Quinn, I really enjoyed your interview. I thought it was wonderful. I wish things were a little different, because I would love to work for you again. I can't.
Well, how about a guy you do work for, Brandon K?
Brandon, he's got a great thing going right now. He's on the right track with his company, and he's starting to really make headway up there. I can't say a bad thing about Brandon. As a kid, I used to watch Brandon, and some of the matches that he had was out of this world. Just the way he works and the way he moves. Like it's a travesty that he didn't have a future. I know, he had his issues and whatever, but I think that he should have had a future in pro wrestling.
How about BC Steel?
He's my brother from another mother. There's nobody out there that plays off of each other better than he and I. I think that he brings out the best in me. I don't know what else to say. Everything that we've done together has been my favorite, because we're just so over the top, and that's not just how we are in front of a camera. That's how we are behind the camera too.
How about a guy sort of lurking in the shadows here, Shane Taylor?
Again, he's my brother from another mother. He and I, it's like Robin Pig. Yeah, the show that was on MTV. That's us. I mean, we're just goofy. We're just little kids just having fun.
How about Norm Connors?
Norm had a lot of faith in me when he was running IWC. It took me a while to actually get booked because of what was going on in PWX and IWC. We weren't allowed, to work, but I found that loophole that allowed me to do so. But some of Norm's shows have been the best. I mean, Steel City Wrestling was some of my favorites to go to for just seeing different people. And unfortunately, things happened, and I still have a check from Norm in my pocket.
Okay. How about you have him here. How about Justin Plummer?
I love everything with IWC right now. I think they've hit the pulse on social media, that they're relying on that, and it's paying off huge. I haven't seen bigger crowds in IWC in a long time, and everything he's doing is absolutely right.
We talked about him a little bit here. Is there anything you want to add about Devil Budokan?
I miss him. I really do. His advice, like, now I'm a father. I mean, you probably see my little one hanging out here in the video every once in a while, but every once in a while I could use like fatherly advice, and like I think that's what I miss, like not being able to get that from him.
How about JT Lightning?
He's another one. I owe a lot to him, because he forced me in a lot of situations to smart me up and like to toughen me up and not take crap from anybody. I used to go out every Tuesday for about a year to work out and train with him, and he taught me so much about protecting myself and just how to carry myself as a professional. And some of his shows, they were just off the charts, and he put me out there with everybody to make sure that I can keep up and I could go with any star that's coming into town to any guy just starting out, just telling stories and just really putting in the work.
Chris Hamrick.
Here's what's really funny is when I was a kid, I ran a website about just I would cover all the local wrestling. I touched upon it a little bit earlier, but I didn't get too far into it. But I went to every show that I could get a hold of, and ECW ran David L. Lawrence Convention Center. It would have been the last time that they were in Pittsburgh. I went and I was covering the show. I scored free tickets earlier in the day because I went to an autograph signing at Century 3 Mall, and New Jack threw a stack of tickets at me. So I felt like I was forced to go because it's New Jack. He would stab me if I didn't go. So I went there with my notebook in hand, and I'm watching this from literally the last seat on the top row. And one of the first matches when they started the live taping was Easy Money versus Kid Cash. I believe it was their first time that they wrestled on Hardcore TV. Post-match, Hamrick does a run-in, which caused New Jack to do his run-in. Hamrick, bloody mess. I was just like, who is this guy and where did he come from? So when I did my write-up, I put him over. I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I need to see more of him. His bumps were crazy. Next thing I know, I'm getting an email from Chris Hamrick. This is in 2000. And he's like, hey, thank you so much for the write-up. I really appreciate that. I'm available for indie bookings. I come from, I think he was in Tennessee at the time. I live in Tennessee, so if you could pass my information along to anybody, I would greatly appreciate it. So I did. At the time, I don't know how familiar you are with Jackie Murray. I used to do some work for her. And when she would bring in whatever star to town, I was always there, and I would work the merch table. So I gave her Hamrick's contact information, and the rest is history. I got a random text from Hamrick, about 10 years ago, or about 8 years ago, and he's like, Potter, he's like, thank you so much. I'm like, for what? He's like, for doing what you did for me. He's like, I owe you a ton for that. You know.
Yeah. Good guy. I just had a conversation with him maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago about, it had to be an hour. Still same guy, same lovable lunatic.
I miss him. I used to travel with him to Cleveland because he was living here in Crafton for a while, and I would ride with him to Cleveland for JT, and he is just a riot. I've never seen somebody just pulls ribs like drop of a hat. We were
in the middle of the ring.
In the middle of the ring.
Oh my God!
Just in the middle of the car ride.
My poor buddy Zubov, he used to terrorize him in the ring.
I have a really funny picture. My 18th birthday, we went to an adult establishment, and it was near Bell Vernon. And Zubov he parked his car because he had his license plate, Zubov. Mm-hmm. And we went outside of a Denny's, and it was sitting out there, and we took a giant group photo. Some guys had their pants off, sitting on his car, but it was sitting on his car, and we sent it to him.
I'll have to ask him about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's circulating everywhere. But back to Hamrick, I was working for JT. We were doing the show at the Nautica Pavilion. It was supposed to be this big legend show. It was one of the last big shows that JT did promote, and I was riding with Hamrick. Or I'm sorry, he was in the car in front of me. I was behind him, and we were pulling into this parking lot. Well, we had to give our names in order to park, to get the free parking. He's like, hey, Potter, listen to this. Pulls up to the gate. The guy's like, hey, what's your name? He's like, Rick Steiner. He pulls through. I'm like, oh, my God, Rick Steiner's not going to be able to park. But I miss him. I wish more promoters would use him locally because he's such a great hand, and he knows so much about the business and could really make guys put in
I'm not sure he's really excited about doing a lot of travel anymore, according to the conversation I had.
Yeah, it's the same conversation, but I will get him back up here one day.
Okay, good. Last one, Jim Miller.
I sat back and I thought about this for a long, long, long time. And the only thing that I'm going to say is delusional.
Okay. You saw his interview?
I did.
He had mentioned that you and BC Steel were maybe their contact on the indie board.
Nah. We were asked to do stuff.
Okay.
I've been approached many times about putting stuff out there. And it's funny because I would think about it, but I wouldn't do it. And then I would see it pop up. And it finally got to the point where I had major heat with the indie webmaster, Josh. I don't even know his last name. But
it was since passed. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, unfortunate. I don't wish any ill will towards anybody. Granted, the circumstance, I wish I would have been able to sit down and have a conversation with him to clear up what the issues were. But I stopped reading that stuff a long time ago. And it was even well into when I was being asked to do certain things that I didn't feel comfortable with. So it's like a half-truth.
What is left in wrestling that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
I've done a lot. Like, I don't think there's anything left for me other than just continuing to do what I'm doing right now. I'm happy. I'm content. I'm happily married. I have a little child. I enjoy life. I like to go out, my 2 or 3 times a month and just have fun. Get away, escape the real life sometimes. My dreams of making it to WWE, they've long gone. I got to work there one time, and I was happy with that. I'm content. I really am.
Okay.
I think I'm satisfied with everything that I've done. I've seen some of the world that I never thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that.
Okay. You want to be on camera?
Uh-huh.
Come sit on your dad's lap.
Come here.
I'm going to ask him a question about you. So this is Lucy.
Can you say hi?
Hi.
How has being a father changed you as
Well,
a man and as a wrestler even?
It's changed me dramatically. Like, I can't imagine a time when I didn't have her. She keeps me going. One of the reasons why I got back into wrestling is to show her that her dad was a superhero at one time, and I think it's so cool that she gets to see the side of wrestling, and gets to experience something different, something that she's not used to. Like tonight will be her first time at IWC, and she's been super excited about it. I brought her to Rise a couple months ago, and I got to put her in the ring and let her roll around for a minute, and she was fearless. And I just want to show her that she can do anything that she puts her mind to it. Right?
right.
What about you? Are you excited about the wrestling tonight?
Yep, but I like dinosaurs.
I think we all like dinosaurs. That's really good advice.
Yep.
So we've covered a lot here. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
I'm very thankful for everything that you're doing. I think it's great so that people can see that we're all human beings, that we've all have a story to tell. It might not be the best story to tell, but at least everything fits together into one giant puzzle, and gives people an opportunity to see us a little bit closer, and see that we're just all having fun and all achieving a dream.
How about you, Lucy? Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
Well, everyone we say is we...
How about this? Can we close on a big high five?
Yes.
Yes!
All right.
How about
Good
this?
job. Oh, we're too sweet in it today, huh? What about me? Do I get a little too
Don't
sweet?
Don't leave them hanging.
All right. This has been great. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Bobby Williams.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. It's been great.
Appreciate
I'm
it.
going to close on this. Guys, girls, please stop having bad matches. You're ruining my life.
Thank you so much.
Good job!
Good job to you.